Good evening, everybody. My name's Shadish. I'm a counsellor here in Sandwell, but also I've worked for nearly 30 years in the women's rights and the violence against women and girls field, working with victims of domestic and sexual violence. I think the thing is, Sandwell in general is a very safe place. That's why this event that happened last week is so shocking to all of us. It's a horrible, heinous crime that should never have happened. And yes, it happened to a woman from my community, from the SIKH community, but it could have been anyone. It could have been any black or brown woman walking down the road on that day. So any one of the sisters standing here from a minority community could have been targeted that day. I think what's really important is that the police have caught somebody and there is one more person that's out there. And that's where I'm going to call out to everybody, especially my brothers that are here. Somebody will say something in a pub, somebody will know someone who's behaving in a really weird way or whatever it is, they need to report it to the police. And what I'll say is that 1 in 4 of us women will be abused in our lifetime. 1 in 5 of us will experience a sexual assault or will be raped. And you know where it starts? It starts with our brothers. You need to call it out. When you hear your brothers, your family, your friends saying misogynistic or sexist things, in a roundabout funny way, making a joke or whatever it is, you need to call it out, because that's the only way we're going to make change. I work with victims, so I am crisis intervention. I'm there after it happens, but those women don't always get better throughout their life, and there's children that sometimes involved in this. So we need to stop this. We need to prevent it from happening, and this starts with all of you here today. So it's so good to see so many of you here, and we really appreciate all the support that we're getting. Thank you so much for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think it is really worth remembering that even though we're here to obviously show solidarity and support for what's happened here in Oldbury, we can't escape the fact that we are living in an increasingly misogynistic society, and that there is one woman is killed every 3 days, and there are thousands of crimes that go unreported all the time for fear of all different reasons. It could be fear of embarrassment, shame, all sorts of reasons, but also lack of having to relive your ordeal in front of the courts is not an easy prospect. And I think with that in mind, we need to obviously remember the people that are lost to the violence, that are lost to those types of misogynistic offences, but also try and make sure we do everything in our power to try and stamp it out so that women are not killed or abused or raped or attacked purely on the basis of their gender. So with that, I'm going to invite the next speaker up, Kim Taylor. Sorry everyone, I'm probably going to have to not stand on that, I'll end up falling. Right, where do I begin? So, for people that can't see the sign, I've got Sexual Violence Survivors Unite. Now, for some of you that may not know me, I've been a survivor of sexual violence, multiple sexual violence offences from as early as 8 years old up to about 13, 14 years old. And there was only one time the police listened to me, and that was when I was raped and groomed when I was 13. Guess how long the person got in prison? Just have a quick guess. 8 months for about 18 counts of grooming, but they didn't class the rape. So, as Tracy said, this, for me at least, is why people are terrified to come forward and relive the ordeal. No one should have to relive the ordeal. I had to relive the ordeal on my 14th birthday of all days. What a birthday. But this person that raped me, Tom, probably past how he was like in his 60s when he did this to me, is the reason I have PTSD. However, there is no way I can stand back and let this happen to other women and female presenting people in the community. Whether you're in the LGBT community, Sikh, Muslim, Christian, it doesn't matter, because one thing in common, and that is
that these supposed men that are here to protect women and kids only care about one thing, and that's to gain control and attack people such as myself. So I don't want to make this about me, because this is about the woman that was. It's, of course, yes, but I just wanted to say this. I had to go through intense counselling and therapy for what happened to me, and through that was when I realised, no, you wasn't second guessing it, Kim, you was raped. So I doubt he will hear it, but this is just for anyone that is one of these monsters that thinks, oh, we can go and rape and assault these women because, oh, they're not from this country, they're not Christian, oh, they're not straight. I got one thing for you. You will not win. We will stand united. And for me especially, you thought you could rape me into being straight. Oh, you got another thing coming, because I am queer and proud. Solidarity.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for sharing that story with us, because I think it is important that we can read all the statistics we want, but behind every statistic is a real person that has been traumatized, that has been abused, that has been vilified, and has also had their dignity compromised, in some cases, a lot of cases taken away from them completely. I'm going to introduce our next speaker now, and her name is Samiha, who's from SFI UK. Samiha.
Hello everyone, my name is Samiha. I am from the Students' Federation of India's United Kingdom unit. We are a student-led organization that works for the rights of Indian students who come here to study. When I heard about the incident, it sent shockwaves, not just to me, but for thousands of students, thousands of minority communities here, who have come here to study with a lot of hopes and aspirations, and for all people of color in this country. When this incident happened, it was a racially aggravated incident. The kind of things that were said, words such as "you do not belong in this country." Let's be clear, this is not a personal attack. It was political. It is misogyny. It is racism. It was an attempt to make someone feel alien in their own home. This incident has left minority communities fearful and women particularly vulnerable in an already discriminatory atmosphere. As students, as young people, as people of conscience, we cannot ignore this. Because when women, when working class people, when communities of color are attacked, it is always linked to a wider system of power. This is a system that tells people that they are disposable, a system that thrives on racism to divide us, on misogyny to silence us, on fear to keep us apart. It is the same system that underfunds women's services, that cuts community support, that fuels scapegoating and hatred through politics and media. We demand that the perpetrators be brought to justice immediately and that reparative measures be taken for the victims' well being. This vigil is not just about mourning, but it is about resistance. We are saying we will not be divided. We will not accept a society where women live in fear. We are allowed to raise our heads high up and lead our lives here in this country, walk on the streets safely, to go to work safely, to go to school safely, to study, to research, to go to universities, and live our lives with our heads held high. We are here to fight for a world where everyone, regardless of their gender, of their faith or background, can work safely, can live freely, and know where they belong. I hope that the perpetrators are brought to justice, and I hope the victim is given the justice that she deserves. And with that, I will end in solidarity.
Thank you so much, Samiha. Next speaker is Janine from Birmingham Stand Up to Racism. Janine, you want to stand up there? Go for it.
Thank you. From Birmingham Stand Up to Racism, I bring you a message of solidarity today to the victim, to say that we stand with you. And I hope that she gains comfort and strength from knowing how many of you have turned out today. And we have seen the rising of the far right, and they have been spreading lies about who is responsible for sexual violence against women. The far right have been protesting protesting outside hotels, saying that all refugees are sexual predators and that they, the racists, are the protectors of women. And there's another lie that has been put about by Tommy Robinson for years, that Muslim grooming gangs are the main threat to women and girls. But the truth is that women are not safe from the far right. After the race riots last year, over 40% of those arrested already had convictions of crimes against women. Crimes of sexual assault, violence and stalking. And we don't want to see any more victims where rape is used as a weapon by racists. And that's why I was proud to be part of the women's contingent leading the counter demonstration against Tommy Robinson on Saturday. Because Tommy Robinson wants to take us back to the days of the Nazi National Front, where they spread fear on our streets and where people were attacked and killed because of the colour of their skin. But the other thing to remember about that time is that people came together in the Anti-Nazi League in a mass movement, and people fought back and stopped the National Front. So just like we mobilised then, we urgently need to mobilise the anti-racist majority in even greater numbers. So whether you're Asian, black or white, whether you have a religion or none, whatever your gender or sexuality, our unity is our strength. Together, we can stop the fascists and the far right and put them in the bin where they belong.
Thanks, Janine, for that inspiring message. Our next speaker is Shakila, who is a human rights activist. Shakila.
Today we are all gathered in solidarity with the victim. We're standing against gender-based, racial and sexual violence. This is a critical issue that affects us all, either directly or indirectly. The statistics are frightening and the reality unsettling. In the West Midlands alone, 8,364 reported cases of hate crimes motivated by race in 2022. Across England and Wales, there were 98,799 race hate crimes reported in the year ending March 2024, making up 70% of all hate crimes. Moreover, gender-based violence and sexual violence continue to plague our society. In England and Wales, 63,136 sexual offences were reported by the police in the year ending March 2024. 47% of them were rape. But we will not be silenced by these statistics. We will not be deterred by the prevalence of these crimes. Instead, we stand in solidarity with the victims of these heinous acts, including our Sikh sister, who was subjected to the rape and racially motivated sexual assault. We condemn such atrocities in the strongest possible terms and demand justice for the victim. I'm standing here not just because I'm a woman, not just because I'm of an ethnic minority, because I'm human. And this can never be tolerated, not by anyone at any time, ever. What we would not want for our own family, for our own mothers and sisters, for ourselves and our daughters, we should never accept for anyone, ever. As a community, we must come together to condemn these crimes, to support the survivors. We must listen to their stories, provide them with the resources they need to heal, and work tirelessly to prevent these crimes from occurring in the first place. To the victim, I want to say that you are not alone. Your experience is valid and your voice matters. And this goes to all victims. We believe you, we support you. and we stand with you every single step of the way. To the perpetrators, I want to say, we will not tolerate your actions. We will hold you accountable, and we will work to create a society where your behaviour is not normalised or excused. Not by the far right, not by anybody ever. Because rape and sexual assault and racial hatred is never, never okay, no matter who is a perpetrator or who is a victim. If we have refugees in this country, remember they have escaped violence already. They have been through so much. If the basis of this attack was because of her race, because they thought she was a refugee, then that makes it even worse if possible, because they know these people have already been through so much. But to hate on anyone to a point where you think you can rape them, to scare everyone else into leaving, it shows your character. It shows what you are about. And we are all here together because we stand against that, regardless of colour or race or ethnicity. As humans, we condemn it and we stand against it. Do not let the far right, do not let all these people scare you into looking at a certain minority of us and thinking that anything goes, that they are allowed to harm us. That is never the case. That is not deserved by anyone. So let us stand together against racial violence, gender-based violence, and sexual violence. Let us create a world where everyone can live without fear of persecution, harassment, or attack. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our children. We owe it to the future generations to get this right. Do not let hate divide us. Do not let the far right divide us. Let them try all they like. But in our unity, we can overcome it all. And it's in our unity that we will win and force change. One perpetrator has been arrested. There is still one at large. And while he's free, no one is safe. Our sisters, our mothers, our daughters are not safe. We need him caught. We need to stop this misogynist behaviour. We need to call it out. So anyone who knows anything, any information you have, please come forward. This victim deserves justice. She deserves closure, as do her family and every single one of us here. We deserve to live without fear. Thank you.
Thank you, Shakila. Next speaker is Councillor Hilary Bills, and she's also speaking on behalf of the NEU Union.
Hello everybody, I'm Councillor Hilary Bills and I'm in my home patch. I represent over the other side of the motorway. Bobby is here and I go to his shop. I taught at Perryfields, which is behind us. This is my home and my patch. And I want to explain to you what I really, really want you to think today. I've been a union member, as it's just been said. I ended up being the president. I'm still a trustee of the National Education Union. And I can tell you now, on behalf of my union, in our schools, we try, and we always will, call out racism, sexual abuse, and all those things. Teachers are brave. And that's the word I want you to remember tonight. Be brave. Years ago, the General Secretary of the National Education Union, we were the National Union of Teachers, was Steve Sinnott. And Steve Sinnott was passionate about Palestine. He worked so hard. He represented all teachers in the world on the subject of Palestine. And he said, Hilary, I want you to lead a delegation to Palestine. And I must have gone, really? Do you know what he said? Be brave. Say it as you see it. Don't kowtow to anyone. My message to every single one of you and my community just over the road, we don't know actually whether the person who we're here for actually came from our community, which is just the other side of the motorway. But I have to say, The words we need is to be brave. When you are in work and somebody says something that isn't right, don't go, oh, did you hear what they said? Take them on. Say, no, that's not right. When you hear a child say it, don't just say, oh, they don't understand. That's when they need to understand. That's when you need to speak to the children and take anybody who says anything, be brave, tell them no. And if we stick together as a community, and this is my community, this is where I live, this is where I've worked and where I represent. When you stick together, you'll be amazed what you can achieve. So I want to hear from you all. What are we all going to be? We're going to be? Sorry, guys, it wasn't good enough. What are we going to be? And take the race it's on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We do have quite a few speakers, but I think it is really important that we hear as many of them as possible. And our next speaker is Surinder from Birmingham Black Sisters. Surinder.
Hello. I didn't actually come to speak, so I've got nothing really prepared, but I felt compelled to speak on behalf of Birmingham Black Sisters, as we've just resurrected ourselves tonight after a period of about 20 years at least of being dormant, because it seems that the time has come when we need to have our voices heard again. We're here to obviously express our unity and solidarity with the family and hope that they are coping as well as possible and they've got the resources to come through this in a positive way, and that they're not victims but will come out as survivors. Why has this happened? Well, this is not new, is it? It's been happening for centuries. Women's bodies are always used as whenever there's a geographical or any sort of war, it's women's bodies that those wars are fought on. So it's usually men who want to exert their power over women, and also to tell the men of the communities of those women that they are victorious, that these perpetrators are victorious. And currently, I suppose the far right, if you want to call them, are the foot soldiers of the government, because it's the government that's created this atmosphere of hate and telling us that we as black people are not acceptable in this country. They go and create all the problems in our countries. They produce the refugees. They produce immigrants. They benefit from us, and yet we're still not allowed to be here. So they create the environment, and far right at the moment are the foot soldiers who do their war for them. But it's not just the far right, is it? It's men, generally, in our homes, and not just the far right, but in the middle right and the left right, and whichever way, it's women's bodies that are being violated. It's when men feel that they can use their bodies and weaponize them to control women and their communities. I won't say any more because I know people are waiting, but I hope we can go forth in solidarity.
Thank you so much, Surinder. I think it's really important that we do recognise the wider implications of what's happened, because yes, we do know that we are living in increasingly dangerous times. If you're black, if you're brown, if you're a woman, and also if you're LGBT+, it's affecting all of us. And the thing is, we're all intersectional. We all cut across the divides. But the most important thing is we're all working class, and we all have to stand shoulder to shoulder with each other. Your struggle is my struggle. And that's where we need to be of one accord, because we need to strike back as a united force. I'm going to introduce you now to our next speakers, and I'm going to say 3 more female speakers initially. Then I'm going to introduce somebody from the SIKH community, because I think it's really important that their voices are heard and amplified as well. So without further ado, our next speaker is Carol Williams. Carol.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Carol Williams. I've come over from Birmingham today. I wanted to show solidarity with the young woman whose life has now been changed after that vicious attack, but also to show solidarity with her family and friends and community. It affects us all. Like I said, I come from Birmingham, and on my way over here on the bus, I heard a disturbing conversation at the back. There was a conversation between a white man and a black man, and the white man said, well, you know, they were talking about the flag. Well, you know, I quite like Tommy Robinson. He said, he can go on about him being racist, but I don't think it is about that, he said. He said, I think it's about these people being allowed to come over here and do what they want. So that was his, sorry, what's I doing wrong? On my lips. Okay, no, I want to say to that man, he wasn't being racist. He was having a conversation with a black man. He was trying not to be racist. He's making that point. I'm not racist. But I think we need to be very clear. We need to make no mistake at all that when our politicians, when Farage and Badenoch and Starmer call for stopping the boats, when they say protest asylum seekers, protesters have legitimate concerns about immigration, when they validate the idea that some people are illegal coming into this country, they are feeding that hatred, they are feeding the division, they are feeding the racism. But Starmer really is the most shameful of them all, a Labour MP. Farage, he's a racist, and I don't think we should be afraid to call that out. The Tory party is full of rife with racism. Kerry Badenoch is prepared to represent them. You can edit, can you? But Starmer, a Labour Prime Minister, an ex-human rights lawyer, should be utterly ashamed of the language he uses. When he said we risk becoming an island of strangers, he knew exactly what he was doing. And he was tail-ending, remember Suella Braverman, when she was Home Secretary, when she said that we're at risk of an invasion of migrants. He was tail-ending that very same language and knew exactly what he was doing. He was feeding that racism. He was sowing division. He was hoping that we'll turn on each other. He's hoping that we'll turn on each other and not challenge them. So I want to be very clear. I think we need a new type of politics. We need an uncompromising politics. We need a politics that says asylum seekers welcome here and no to the far right. Yeah. We need to push this racism that leads to these attacks. And remember, there were two Sikh taxi drivers attacked in Wolverhampton the other day. There was a woman in a hijab and with her child racially abused outside Highbury Park in King's Heath the other day as well. We are living at a time where there's increased tensions and increased racism. And that means we need increased unity. We need all to be standing together. We need to push it. We can't eliminate racism. We can't eliminate it in a world that creates it. But we can push it back in the gutter where it belongs. And that requires unity.
Thank you, Carol. I'm going to have to ask speakers to keep their contributions a little bit shorter so that we can get more people in. Our next speaker is Anne Gallagher.
Hello, I've just come as a child of immigrants, as a person married to an immigrant. And I just want to say my deep concern is violence against women and girls. It's great to see so many girls here. I'm 68 years old with a male twin, so I can tell you everything you've ever needed to know about inequality. I'm sick to the back teeth of not enough men standing up. There's a lot of women here, and actually men, far more men. We need to challenge far more men. I had an experience yesterday where a young person related to me actually said, "Hi Nanny, look how big I am, I'm really powerful." And I said to my grandson, with power comes responsibility. And the dilemma is women talk more because we're smaller, we're physically weaker, but stop crossing us because far too many men are far too comfortable with pushing women down constantly. Who does all the work in your house? Seriously. Who does the caring? Who does the shopping? Who does the cleaning? And seriously, men,
and I've come deliberately to say this, I've thought really deeply about what to say. You know, we need far more men to shape up. And I know quite a few men in the audience. A lot of them are really good, but more men could do an awful lot more. So come on, lads, come on, girls, make the men do more, because it's men that are committing these crimes, men of all backgrounds, and men are committing them at home. And sadly, and there's not enough help out there for women who are suffering domestic abuse and coercive control and post-separation abuse. There is very little. I wanted to swear, but I'm trying not to. There's very, very little. I have come from a hospital appointment today because I deeply wanted to speak. And I just want to say, we really need to tackle, particularly men, and the women that support these men, the Trump lovers, the Farage lovers, the women who are lying down like handmaidens and putting up with it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. We've got another speaker, another local woman. Her name's Michaela. Michaela.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Michaela. My grandparents have lived in this community for most of my life, and obviously they're getting up there in age. They couldn't make it today, but I just come to show solidarity with the victim, and like hearing all the people before me speak and everything they had to say, I thought that I'd come up here and say that to the people that are responsible and to the people in the community that think that hateful speech, painting a mini roundabout, putting flags up, being violent towards people is going to try and drive people of colour out of the community. I just want to show that that's not the case. Like, seeing everybody that's come out today is so powerful to see, like, different communities come together. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that I just couldn't imagine it happening anywhere, but here especially. Like, I grew up playing in this park. I'd walk to the chip shop, walk to the shop, walk to the bus stop. And that's not going to stop because a group of people think that they're better than anyone else, or that they have the power to silence people, push them away. My little cousins are here today, and I'm determined for this to continue to be a safe community. I want them to feel like they can play in this park. They can walk the same routes that I've walked. They can feel safe and feel protected in a community like this. And I think coming here today and having everybody here spreads that message. So I want everyone to continue to show up in numbers, continue to spread love, continue to spread messages that go against the hate that is so loud in our community today. Thank you.
Thank you, Deirdre. Our next speaker is, Michaela, apologies. Our next speaker is Deirdre Labassiere, and she's from Women Acting in Today's Society, or WAITS short. Deirdre.
Thank you. Oh, right closer. Closer. Thank you. Right. Good evening, everybody. I represent Women Acting in Today's Society. We are a 30-year-old women's empowerment and domestic abuse charity based in Birmingham, the heart of England. And together with the staff and trustees, I'm here to give a message today to say we are standing in ultimate solidarity for our sister who has endured such unspeakable indignity. We gather not only for her, but for the countless women who bear the scars of violence amongst women and girls. Our prayer is actually that we pause. And we pause to consider, to reflect, to truly feel the weight of what women endure daily, minute by minute, second by second, hour by hour. Violence knows no boundaries. It knows no boundaries of race, of faith, or place. Yet, it always diminishes. Violence is as violence does. Its scars are carried not by one alone, but by every single human being standing here today with a heartbeat and a soul. And let us be clear, There can be no tolerance for racism, no space for hate. Racist violence is not just an attack on one woman, it is an attack on the dignity of us all. My hope, and the hope of Waits, is that together we proclaim the oneness of humanity and the dignity of soul. To honor our sister is to honor all women. To speak for her is to affirm that no woman should ever be silenced, reduced, or dehumanized. And remember, everybody, that whilst we are here standing in peaceful protest, peace is not passive, it is active. Peace is rooted in justice, in courage, and in the compassion to make real, genuine change. A peace that demands better from our systems, better from our communities, better from ourselves. So everybody, please, with me, let us honor our sister. Let us honor all women. Let us honor the humanity in her. Let us honor the humanity in all of us standing here today. The humanity that binds us together, the strength that carries us forward, and the justice that she and all women so richly deserve today, tomorrow, and every day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deirdre. Just to break up a little bit, I'm going to invite a speaker from the Sikh community. His name is Kuldeep Singh Bains from Wolverhampton, Sikhs for All.
Hello all, how are you all? All good? Well, thank you for all turning up. My name is Kuldeep Singh Bains. I come from Wolverhampton. I represent SIKH for All. That is SIKH is for everybody. I'm gonna quote a couple of lines from Bhai Gurdas ji, who wrote Granth Sahib. So he says, अव्वल अल्लाह नूर पाया कुदरत दे सब बंदे एक नूर पे सब जग उपजया कौन भले कौन मंदे. In English, first the Creator made the divine light, and from that light all beings were created. Since the entire world has arisen from the same light, who can be called good or who bad? That's what Sikhism is. There's no place for racism or putting one down or the other. It was Guru Nanak Dev Ji more than 500 years ago, the one who raised the first voice for the women of the world. He gave the equal opportunity. He told me, comes in our Granth Sahib. Sorry. सो क्यों मंदा आखिए ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਕਿ ਸੋ ਕਿਉਂ ਮੰਦਾ ਆਖੀਏ ਜਿਤ ਜਮੇ ਰਾਜਾਨ. I forgot the first line of it, sorry about that. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he told them, these women, they give the birth to the kings and all that. How can we not come down? And we are still fighting for our sisters and our girls and our daughters' rights, equal rights. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he fought, raised the first voice in that time. Now, I feel a little bit, disappointed. There's not many other Sikhs are here, but it is a main principle of Sikh. Treat everybody the same, and wherever there's a need, please support them. So we are all, it's a Sikh. Treat everybody equal. God made us all the same. Only on the earth we become different to each other, but we should all unite against this far-right racism and fight them together. I'm sure we'll win. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I thought I'd invite a SIKH man to speak, because I think it's really important, because we are united. This is something that affects all of us. And I think it's really important. I'm just going to ask speakers if you can keep your contributions to a couple of minutes, because there's a lot of people that want to speak quite rightly, and I think we want to hear as many voices as possible. So without further ado, I'll introduce our next speaker, Muz from Women Together and Brummies United Against Racism. Muz.
I'm here to stand in solidarity as a woman with my sister. I'm also here because I'm really angry. I'm angry at the politicians that have got us to this place. It's not just the man or the men that raped our sister, but it's the politicians that allowed them to and armed them to do this. They are guilty of the crime as well. I'm also fed up. I'm fed up of the division that they're creating between our communities. And they know why they're doing it, because they failed us all. They're failing the working classes, and they're scapegoating the migrants and the Muslims, and they're creating divisions between us all. But we have to send that message, and all of you here today are that message of solidarity. Enough is enough. We're not going to take this anymore. We're going to stand together against the hate and division. And we have to show that. Every single day we have to show our unity. One of the things we've done in our area in Moseley, when the Patriotic Alternative came onto our street and shared, well, they threw posters onto our doorsteps, we neighbours got together and we started a poster campaign called Brummies United Against Racism. And that's been our message against the far right, against the posters, against the division. So what I would say to you is get together with your neighbours, because our message of unity is much stronger than their hate. And that's why they fear us. That's why they want to create division, because they fear that when we are together, when we have unity, we are far stronger than them. And then they won't be able to succeed in their aims of, giving themselves millionaires. So please, my message is unite. Don't let them divide us. Come out together and let's defeat their hate.
Thank you, Muz. Our next speaker is Siobhan from Shakti Women. Siobhan.
Woo!
Yep. Make some noise for Siobhan.
Another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. Arundhati Roy. I do not condemn white men for these crimes. I do not condemn black men for these crimes. I do not condemn white women for these crimes. I do not condemn black women for these crimes. Who I condemn is our education system. The way we are reared to think that some people are less than others. For many, 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 many years, I have lived by the philosophy of Martin Luther King: peace, protest, education. But in the last few years of my life, and I must say I'm getting on a bit, I have now started to listen to the words of Malcolm X, and also studied the movements of the pink saris in India. When somebody fucking rapes a woman, we beat the shit out of them. We all need to stand together. We all need to take a really serious look at what we are educating our kids with, the language that we are educating our communities with. Because this hate, this racism, this ugly sexism, this disease of misogyny cannot exist without our permission, without all of our permission. So we all have a duty
to stamp it out, to question what our kids are reading, to question what our sons and daughters are listening to question the kind of music that they are playing. This is not one person's responsibility. This is not down to politicians. This is not down to white men. This is down to all of us. All of us take responsibility for wiping this shit out. Yeah. And
Thank you, Siobhan. Our next speaker is Anissa from Anawim. Anissa.
Yeah. Woo! So I want to begin with by extending my solidarity to my sister. I work for an organisation that works with women from all backgrounds, including those that have experienced sexual violence. And today and every day, we stand against violence that is perpetrated against women and girls. So I'm not going to lie, in a personal capacity, I have been really tearful, really angry, and really upset about the current state that we're in. And I feel that we all share some of those angers, and we've got to use this movement and the people that we've got here to build something for our communities going forward. And one of the things that's really clear is, and other speakers have mentioned it, is that we've tackled fascism in the past. And we need to also learn the lessons of those organisations. And I think whilst the Anti-Nazi League and whilst UAF had their place, the far right that we're seeing at the minute is different. And we need to have a different approach to tackling some of the things that are going on. We need to build strength within our communities. We're in a time where trade unionism is smaller. Building that solidarity is going to be harder, and we need to all work together to be able to do it. So this Saturday's protest is a stark reminder of our free fall into fascism. We have to provide those answers for our communities, and like has been said, we can't wait for our politicians to give us those answers. We need to be bold in our anti-racism, against our homophobia, against misogyny, and it's important that we have a variety of voices coming together to say this. I think it's also really important to remember that Malcolm X did come to Smethwick on the behest of anti-racism campaigners, and yes, Malcolm X. And look, these battles are a repeat of each other. Our parents have had to fight these battles, our grandparents, and we're fighting them now. And the whole point of what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be building is learning those lessons of what happened in the past and how we can eradicate this cancer that exists within our society. So I just want to end with something that's sort of hopeful, but not hopeful, but like, we'll see. We'll see what you think. So Tony Benn talks about there is no final victory and there is no final defeat. There is just the same battle to be fought over and over again. So toughen up, bloody toughen up. And we need to, because we've got the fight to take on.
Thank you. I can see that there's a lot of people. We're going to have to, we've got about 4 or 5 more speakers and then we're going to draw it to a close. I just want to thank everyone for coming. So just bear with us. We just got a few more speakers to go. And I think it is really important to recognise the variety of organisations that are represented here today, people as well that are local women. And I think we don't get our voices heard enough. So I want to thank you all for being such a great audience. And with that, I'll introduce our next speaker. And our next speaker is Chi. And Chi's from Fight Racism, Fight Imperialism. Chi.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Chi from the Revolutionary Communist Group, and we write the paper Fight Racism, Fight Imperialism. We're here today united in outrage and grief over the brutal, racially motivated rape of a young Sikh woman in our community. This act of terror is a stark reminder that under capitalism and patriarchy, the bodies of women of colour are treated as territories to be conquered. We send our unwavering love and solidarity to our sister enduring this trauma. Her pain is our pain. We gather not only in grief, but with a clear-eyed analysis. This was not an isolated incident. is a direct symptom of interconnected systems of power, a patriarchy that treats our bodies as property, and a racism, legacy of imperialism that marks us as other and expendable. The escalating hate speech against migrants by the Labour government has emboldened fascists, creating a climate where such public atrocities are possible. No matter how much they try to deny it or cover it up, it was a racist hate crime of unspeakable violence against a woman. It did not happen randomly. There is a culture of violent and racist misogyny against women of colour, derived from the imperialist British state, which is headed by the Labour government. Shame! Shame! As we have all seen, even just last week, false friends. Oh, sorry, I skipped out a bit.
Technicals.
Yeah, technical, sorry. As we have all seen, even just last week, false friends will try to depoliticize it and tell us it's not about racism or sexism or the British state. Shame! Shame! We know that it is. As our friend Surinder from Birmingham Black Sisters pointed out, all racism and misogyny comes from the British state. The same state that deports migrants. Shame! Shame! That criminalizes and locks up people of colour disproportionately. Shame! Shame! That actively supports the genocide in Palestine. Shame! Shame! That cuts resources for women facing domestic abuse. Shame! Shame! That attacks trans women. Shame! Shame! That covers up horrific crimes committed against women by the institutionally racist police. Shame! Shame! This violence is designed to terrorize us into silence. But our answer cannot be to plead with the state that creates these conditions. We cannot depend on the police or the state to end state racism and misogyny. They are the ones who cause and continue it. Yeah, no worries, sorry. This incident cannot be treated as a random act. It is part of a broader political trend. We must therefore build our own movement, one that is anti-racist, that unites all the different groups that they try to split us up in. We cannot let them draw false lines between us when all people of colour are targeted and oppressed by the same thing, British imperialism. We must build a movement that is explicitly anti-racist, that fights back against a racist, sexist state. I'm sure we're all aware of the false friends in our community who collaborate with the racist state by doing the state's dirty work for them, by stirring up divisions between us and by policing us from within our communities on behalf of the state. We need to be aware of this. We need to fight back, to build a movement that fights back against these groups, that is internationalist, that connects the struggle between the working class in Britain and the people in Palestine, that fights for another system, one that depends on equality for women, people of colour, and all of those marginalised. The turnout today shows that the majority of us understand the importance of standing together between communities. A case like this could happen to any one of us. And that is why we have to stand together and stand against any intimidation and get organised. And that is why we say, one struggle, one fight, Palestine, women's rights. One struggle, one fight.
Palestine women's rights.
One struggle, one fight.
Palestine women's rights.
And as so many of us today have pointed out, this system of violence comes from the state. And that is why we also must say, Labour Party, Sexist Party, Labour Party,
Sexist Party,
Labour Party,
Sexist Party,
and Labour Party, Racist Party, Labour Party,
Racist Party,
Labour Party,
Racist Party.
Thank you all.
That's right, thank you, Chair. Right, next speaker. We've got about 3 more speakers left, guys. Thank you for your patience. Next speaker is Rebecca Hemmings.
Thank you. So, I'm Rebecca Hemmings, and I actually run a company where we speak about racism all the time, and we educate people. I mean, I'm not here in that capacity. I'm here in my own personal capacity because it's really, as many of you, as all of you, it's touched me. So I just want to say a few things. I don't want to repeat what's been said, but what I will say is this. Firstly, to the young lady, for the reason who is at home, hopefully, and feeling our love. I want you to know that we are here because of you. We care. Feel the love that is here, first and foremost, because we know we're surrounded by a lot of hate. Okay. Secondly, I want to say, I talk about race day in, day out, talk about racism, and I get it, amongst people in organisations, but I've never felt it like this. I live in an area where there are lots of flags, and it's shocking, it's scary, and so to the white people that are here, I'm going to talk straight to you. We need to hear your voices, because as racially marginalised people, we have been talking about this forever, but until you stand up and you speak, unfortunately, our voices will never be loud enough. And I'm just saying that based on my experience, based on what I know. So we really need you to amplify our voices. Yeah? What I also want to say, and this is to everybody, for everybody, for all of you here, this is difficult, as nowhere near as difficult as it is for this young lady, but it is also feeling the hate, feeling the sexism, feeling all of this discrimination is difficult, and it will have a wear and tear on your bodies. So what I'm saying to all of you, when you've finished here tonight, go home, chill, relax, read a book, write in a journal, watch a TV program, do whatever, have a bath, whatever it is that makes you relax and makes you feel good, go and do that, because this stuff is hard, and continue to do that stuff. Also, the final thing I want to say is joy is a form of resistance, right? So, also, when you come away from here, you have to remember that a lot of people thrive in your misery. You know the word, the German word, Schadenfreude, right? In Jamaican terms, it means bad mind. There is a lot of that going on, right? So we don't want to play to that, okay? So you still go home, you still dance, you still sing, you still be joyous, because you know what? They can't break us. They cannot break us, and that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Joy is so important, so thank you for that reminder. Our next speaker is Zara. Zara?
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak. In my experiences, I want to talk about misogyny. Misogyny is prevalent now as it was 30 years ago growing up in Handsworth. Walking as a young girl just to school, where it felt normal to be catcalled as a child. It was just part of life. The culture has not changed. It's just hidden online now, and I want all parents to be aware of that and talk to your kids. My role in life right now as a teacher, it's made me reflect, as I guess you have too, after hearing what happened in our community. I felt helpless and emotional. I just want to say this. Every action starts with a thought. Every action for good, but also every action for bad too. It all starts with just a thought. Misogyny, racism, any prejudice begins with a thought. If you feel helpless too or don't know what to do, I urge you to debate the thoughts, not with like-minded people that you're here with today, but also with people that don't think like you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zara. We've got two more speakers, and then I'm going to wrap up. So our next speaker is Nadia from the Abrahamic Foundation Mosque in Smethwick. Can you stand for me?
Yeah, you're right. So if I can see you and
Hi all, I'm Nadia. I'm from Abrahamic Foundation Mosque, and I just wanted to echo all the messages and a huge thank you to all that are here standing in solidarity today. I just want to remind you all of where we're stood right here today. This is Sandwell, the powerful legacy that we have here. Over 60 years ago, it was within Sandwell, invited over by the Indian Workers Association, by Dar Singh, that Malcolm X, a black Muslim man who fought relentlessly against racism, injustice, came to the streets of Smethwick to bring a global light on justice, racism, prejudice and hate. And I just want to remind you all from Sandwell, this is our legacy, this is where we are from. We fought relentlessly to overcome this, and here we are today. This weekend also marks 51 years old would have been Stephen Lawrence. Another example as well of a young black life that was lost to racism. The relentless fight that his family and everybody in the battles that they fought to really recognise that racism is institutional, and this is something that we must all fight. We had to do it 60 years ago. Things haven't changed, and we're still here right now. So just a message to you all of solidarity, and we must all stick together. Thank you.
And we've got one more speaker before I wrap up. And it's Surinder Kaur from the Indian Workers Association. Surinder.
evening, everybody. I absolutely hate speaking. I absolutely hate speaking, but I must speak, I've been told. So I can't add any further words to the empathy and compassion expressed for our sister today. What I wanted to talk about is I want to express my deep concern about how this incident is being handled in public discourse, particularly by far-right groups who are opportunistically using the violence to stoke division, fear, and hatred. It is deeply troubling that some individuals within our own communities have in recent years supported or legitimized far-right ideologies under the guise of protecting women or community honor. These same far-right voices are now attempting to position themselves as defenders of South Asian women. I reject this hypocrisy outright. True solidarity with victims of gender-based violence does not come from those who have long demonized minorities, migrants, and Muslims, or from those who only speak when it serves a racist or communal agenda. We must not allow the pain of a woman to be weaponized further agendas of hate. Justice for the survivor must be rooted in a wider commitment to ending violence against women, regardless of race, faith, or background. I just want to end there and just bring to your attention that the Shaheed Udham Singh Welfare Centre, at the Shaheed Udham Singh Welfare Centre, organised and led by the Indian Workers Association, we have a public meeting on the 20th of this month from 4 to 7. So please join us to look at the Shaheed Udham Singh Welfare Centre on Soho Road, Handsworth. Yeah, thank you.
I was going to attempt to stand up, but I can't get on there, sorry, and I'm not going to do myself an injury. Right, I think I am going to close the meeting in a second, but before I do that, first and foremost, I think there is a reason why we're here today, and it's here to remember that the woman that lives in this area has been the victim of racist and sexualised violence and rape, and it can happen to any of us at any time. So I'm going to ask you all, if you may, just to observe a minute's silence as a sign of respect to her and to also to any other woman that has experienced this offence. So starting from there, if we can have a minute's silence. Thank you. Thank you everyone for showing that sign of respect. And I think it's really, really important that we do recognise that it's an individual that has been subjected to this attack, but also to recognise that it is part of a wider pattern. I'm actually part of Birmingham Stand Up to Racism. I'm also a trade unionist, I'm a civil servant, and I'm also part of the Women Against the Far Right. I've actually attended some of these demonstrations where you are getting Black and Asian people, predominantly asylum seekers and refugees, in hotels being labelled as paedophiles, rapists, and you've got people on the far right that are standing there saying that they're there to protect the rights of women and girls, which is an absolute fallacy given the majority that there's a lot of them in their ranks that are actually being convicted for domestic abuse, child sex offences and so forth. So I think it's really important that while we remember with shock and horror and show solidarity to our sister, there are sisters everywhere that are experiencing this, but we can't escape from the fact that there is a racial element to this crime, because at the end of the day what's happening in Parliament and also in mainstream media, racism is being normalised. Sexism is being normalised, misogyny is being normalised, and we have a duty to say this is not the type of world we want to live in. We want to live in a world where you can feel safe, We want to live in a world where you can be respected, whether you're male, female, or non-identifying, whether you're black, white, whether you're religious or not. We think it's absolutely important that we fight for that world, and the only way we're going to fight for it is by doing what we've done today, but on a bigger scale, by coming together, but also making sure our voices are heard loud and clear. And I just want to give a round of applause to everybody that's turned up today. Give yourself a round of applause, and give an applause for all the women that have spoken today. Because I think the one thing that I think today has shown, more importantly than anything, I've never seen such a cross-section of people that have got up and spoken today. And I'm really, really proud to have been part of this today. And I celebrate all of you. We have to celebrate our humanity, and we have to fight, because I was in London on Saturday, and yes, there were lots of anti-racists. There was quite a few thousand of us. It can vary between 5 to 20,000 depending on who you ask. But in terms of the fascists and the far right, there's a lot of people in those ranks that say they're not racist, that say they're not sexist. But if you're not racist or you're not sexist, why are you organising or going on demonstrations organised by far-right organisations where the guest speakers are people like Elon Musk, who bankrolled it, by the way, guys? People that are super rich and whose interests are best served by dividing us. So my message to all of you, loud and clear, is we will not be divided. And if you think you are going to silence the voices of women, black, white, brown, we will stand and we will make sure our voices are heard loud and clear. And I want to give a big shout out to our brothers that are here standing side by side with us today, because our fight is your fight. And if we see we're fighting against for the rights of women, but we're also fighting for the rights of our brothers as well, because as I said, there is a racial element to this. And I'll tell you now, they're starting off with asylum seekers because they think they're a soft target. They're ignoring the fact that migrants contribute £3.3 billion to the economy every single year. That is an inconvenient truth for them, so they won't tell you that. They'll just keep spreading lots of misinformation and disinformation to try and whip up racial hatred. And it's that type of climate that is causing crimes like this to happen. And we have to say never again. And every time a crime is committed against a woman, against anybody, we need to be standing firm as a community and saying, you will not divide us, because an attack on one is an attack on all. Now, there's a petition going around for safer street lighting and all sorts of things, and I would urge all of you, we can't all do everything all the time. We can't all get out to demonstrations, but we can all take part in other forms of actions, whether it's petitions, whether it's lobbying your councillors, your MPs. We all have a role to play, and we should all make sure we stand firm and do what we can when we can to show solidarity and show that we are the majority. The majority of us are decent people, and we love and support each other, and we'll stand together. So on that note, I just want to say thank you once again for coming out. Solidarity.